Mumonkan 33, Baso's No Mind, No Buddha. A monk asked Baso, "What is the Buddha?" Baso answered, "No mind, no Buddha." Mumon's comment: "If you understand this, you have finished studying Zen." Mumon's verse: "Present a sword if you meet a swordsman. Don't offer a poem unless you meet a poet. When talking, tell 1/3 of it. Don't divulge the whole at once." So a monk asked Baso, "What is the Buddha?" Baso answered, "No mind, no Buddha." This koan seems in flagrant contradiction with the koan we dealt with 3 sessions ago. That was case number 30. Today we are case number 33. That went like this. Daibai asked Baso, "What is the Buddha?" So we have exactly the same question, but here the same Baso answered, "This very mind is the Buddha." That is a contradiction. One time Baso says, "This mind is the Buddha," and now in case number 33 he says, "No mind, no Buddha." That reminds me some of the meetings of my first Advaita teacher, Walter Keers, and he sometimes also came with contradicting responses to very similar questions. And then somebody would question him about these contradictions. So when that happens, he would say, "Well, you know, when an overweight person asks advice to a doctor, the doctor would say, 'You should eat less.' And then the next patient may be anorexic, very thin, and he visits that same doctor. And then the doctor would say, 'You know what? You should eat more.' Now, these are contradictory statements, but that doesn't make this doctor a fool or a liar. For one person, certain advice was appropriate, and for the other, it was the opposite advice. There's nothing wrong with that. And here also we have this same situation in a way. Baso himself was actually asked how come he contradicted himself. And his response was as follows: "To say this very mind is the Buddha is to stop a baby from crying." A monk then asked, "What would you say after the baby stops crying?" "Then I would say, 'No mind, no Buddha,'" responded Baso. When we handled case number 30, we went through a meditation exercise whereby we experienced firsthand that all mind functions were found to be one with awareness. All mind functions, sight, sound, smell, taste, feelings and thoughts, all one, all what I expressed, closer than close, our true nature itself, so that we could testify, and I quote from the koan, "You then wear the Buddha's clothes, you eat the Buddha's food, you speak the Buddha's words, you do the Buddha's deeds, That is, you are the Buddha himself. You can listen to that episode in case you missed it. But anyway, the advice, mind is Buddha, according to Baso himself, is meant for most of us, crying babies, who still have not experienced this oneness of being the Buddha. For those of us who are still seeking for consciousness or Buddha nature far away and not yet found that it is closer than close. For those people, for many of us, that advice is perfect. As Hakuin, another Zen master, said, we are like a man who in the midst of a lake cries in thirst so imploringly. Where's the water? Where's the water? We're crying like babies. I cannot find it anyway, and they're splashing in the water while saying this. So I was saying, for such a person, Baso's first advice, mind is Buddha, is most helpful. The water is all around you, and it is good to point that out. But for the person who already testified that the water is already all around him or her, and who's already stopped crying like a baby, it would not make sense to repeat this advice again. Just as it would not make sense to tell a thin person to eat less and lose weight. To such a person, Baso's advice is no mind, no Buddha. In other words, no water. To better comprehend this, I would like to draw a comparison with blowing soap bubbles like in this image beside me. This metaphor may make things a little clearer. Any concept or any thought we may form is comparable to one of these soap bubbles you see here. Each form grows, exists in certain time, takes a certain space, and then disappears in thin air. However, what we truly are is more like this yellow holder which this child is holding over there, in which he blows the bubbles. We wrongly identify constantly with the bubbles that are formed, and that can be seen on the left. But what we actually are is this yellow ring, this yellow holder. So I would like to invite you, the viewer, a little meditation exercise on this for a moment. Consider a vertical ring, just like the yellow ring on the picture. But this time the yellow ring has the shape of your head. A vertical circle like that. It may be better now to close your eyes, but if you don't feel like this, then that's fine too. So again, with your eyes closed, feel as if there was this ring around your face. And now imagine a gentle wind of awareness blowing through this ring, creating thought bubbles. Remember, for example, as a thought, breakfast or lunch you had today. Where was it? Visualize it. What food was on the table? Try to remember the taste the food had while you were eating it. And see this whole memory as a thought bubble that is created within the confinement of the yellow vertical holder that surrounds your head, this ring. See how this thought bubble forms, has a three-dimensional shape and a certain duration. Then let go. A second example, we will do it one more time. Imagine an activity now that you will be doing today or tomorrow. So let a gentle wind of awareness blow again through the yellow circle surrounding your head. See what you are planning to do. Imagine the kind of activity it is, with whom you will do it, in what kind of surroundings. See how this new thought bubble forms. See how it has a three-dimensional shape and a certain duration. Then let go again. But now see how different this yellow bubble holder that surrounds your head is from the thought bubbles that are being created. This yellow bubble holder is always there. And unlike the soap bubbles, it doesn't come and go. It is one-dimensional and doesn't blow into three-dimensional bubbles. No thought bubble could ever describe this yellow holder, as it is so different and it cannot be captured in the three-dimensional shape of a soap bubble. In reality, it is not one-dimensional, it is zero-dimensional. You can open your eyes now. Any concepts we form about Buddha nature, consciousness, awareness can be useful in the beginning when we are still crying babies, but then we need to let go of any concept, and then we come to Baso's no mind, no Buddha, because mind and Buddhas as concepts are still bubbles. No mind, no Buddha is when you realize the yellow holder. Let's go back to the text now, the koan text. We have Mumon's comment. If you understand this, you have finished studying Zen. There is indeed nothing more to understand or to study. However, careful, that doesn't mean the practice of Zen is over. That practice is never over, as life will continue to throw challenges at us. We are indeed loaded with bad habits from the past, and we will continuously be thrown back into dualism. Our practice is then to continuously reapply the experience of being this yellow bubble holder, ever present, non-dimensional. And each time where we are falling back in some dreamy bubble thoughts, then we have to get back to it. So in other words, that practice never ends. Mumon's verse: present a sword if you meet a swordsman. Don't offer a poem unless you meet a poet. When talking, tell 1/3 of it. Don't divulge the whole at once. Well, in our YouTube series on the Mumonkan, I am not following this advice of providing you with just 1/3 of the truth. The audience, like yourself, deserve to get the full picture, and that is what I'm conveying here with you. So I'm more generous and provide you with a fuller story. And I do that because I also realize that in our Western culture, there is a big need to clarify and to understand what is behind all this. That said, for senior monks with years of practice, what is being suggested here may be true. Withholding 2/3 of the information may lead such senior persons to find out the truth by themselves. And that is probably the reason why they say here, don't divulge the whole at once. That would be applicable for such more senior people. Thank you for listening, and I'm looking forward to meet you again next time.